when you enter this room, the creativity pocket in your mind just bursts open, and the world is so different in this room than the outside world. It makes you think so differently from the way we think in class, and the room itself, like the way it looks, is so motivating and inspiring. It has inspired me in a way because I'm usually the person who's, oh, books, mug up, do it. I'm a very straightforward person, but this has made me think beyond what I can actually think, and I feel it's gonna help me a lot in the future.
So when you enter the makerspace, it's a much more disciplined environment compared to a classroom, and you feel like you're going to encounter something different every time you enter. There's a challenge for you, and it's really engaging.
I think the best thing about our makerspace is like the room and the teachers, because like there are no wrong there's nothing wrong that you can do here, because like they encourage creativity so much that
there's nothing incorrect. There's no incorrect method in any of the activities.
No bad questions.
Yeah, you can ask anything, you can do anything, and if it doesn't work, then you can just try again.
We come from generations of education where we were told, don't think, just do, write what I tell you to write and you will get full marks. So this has been a challenge to set up this kind of curriculum where children are encouraged to think for themselves, to think independently, to think creatively, to think originally. The makerspace is another example of Inventure's commitment to thinking.
Back then we tended to shy away from being the crazy ones, being the ones who thought completely out of the box, the ones who had an idea that didn't fit in but still stuck with it. And to some extent there was a reason why, because we wanted to be very academically strong. Now that our newer generations have found a way to become academically strong without the same amount of effort since we used to put in, what the makerspace allows is that when the kid walks in, it's a space that wants to tell the kid, this is where you can let that spark turn into an entire fire. And so you think of something, here's what you have in front of you, let's make whatever we can with it. So when you say that a kid is really happy and excited about being in the space, the first thing is probably because it doesn't have a rigid structure. It doesn't say, hey, you have to do this or you have to do that, and that this plus that equals this. You can define it and you can prove why it's that, and maybe even not, and still go home and say, I tried.
For me, a makerspace should facilitate conversations. Conversations, discussions, opinions, arguments. Our kids are really good at that. And to really have, to really think about ideas. The making comes first from the thinking, and I think giving students that platform to think in different ways is really a way of interpreting our whole philosophy of multiple intelligences, that we can ideate on things in different ways, and I think the makerspace is a fantastic space to do that.
Finding the answer to the challenge is the best moment. When you do it by yourself, you carry that pride for the whole week until the next week, and the answer that you find, you look forward to finding more answers in the next challenges that are upcoming, and I think that's the most exciting part of Makerspace.
It's a place where a lot of my ideas have been born, and it's a place where I've discovered a lot of new things and learned a lot of new techniques.
In the makerspace, we make a lot of things that are related to sciences such as physics and math. So like we tried to come up with frisbees, and we had to ensure that they were perfectly rounded and that they had a structure similar to a frisbee which would ensure aerodynamicity. Now we've learned these concepts in physics class, but to actually see them come to life is a different experience in itself. And I think that's reflective of one of Inventure's core values, which is fostering dynamism. So it really as Yash mentioned, reflects how we should become wholesome individuals who just don't learn things for the sake of passing exams, but can apply them to real life situations where they come to their use in actually making things that are hands-on experiences which are going to be beneficial for other people as well.
I've pursued art and design, and I've pursued the sciences too. And I have this a little bit of a privileged position to say that they aren't very different from each other. And when you can see how they connect with each other, the makerspace is just this place that allows you to enjoy that position, where you see how science complements art and how art eventually finds itself all over your scientific concepts. So that is my high of being associated with the makerspace.
I think that sky's the limit, basically. Like, cause over here they teach us that like nothing is impossible and everything can be done if we put our minds to it. So I guess I want to carry that principle like everywhere I go.
So the makerspace should ideally facilitate a teaching learning process where there is no teacher or student. You're all one entity. There is no boundary because what matters at the end of the day is what level are you thinking at? How deep are you pushing your thinking?
You know, if you want to create a future, we really need to nurture the inventors of the future. So we really need to create that making culture where people learn how to think. It's not just what to think, but how to think, how to experiment, how to try something and not be afraid of failure and actually learn from the failure. India as a country, we don't think failure is a good thing, right? But failure is tremendous because it really means that you're trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And failure is also tremendous if you learn from it. Everybody talks about Edison and the light bulb that he invented. Nobody talks about the 10,000 attempts he made. He didn't keep trying the same thing over and over again. He tried something a little bit different each time before he created the light bulb. And actually, you know, people talk about Edison, the scientist, but they're not talking about Edison, the entrepreneur. So with the change maker and makerspace, we're trying to bring those two together.
There's a lot of thinking out of the box involved, and that actually makes you unique as a person as well.
Now, the current education system, one of the buzzwords is critical thinking. But most schools are sort of, I think, quite clueless about how to go about incorporating it into their curriculum. And this is a wonderful way of doing it.
So I think I've learned that every problem is solvable because Aaron sir always just gives us the problem and lets us find our own way, and he always gives us problems which seem hopeless or which seem with no solutions, but then in the end there's always that smart solution that comes out from somebody else, and you always get to learn from someone else who's maybe has a different bent of mind and can think and has a different area of intelligence where they can think differently to solve a problem and look at different angles. So I think that's an integral part of life that I feel I should work on, looking from different perspectives to solve the same problem, which will give you different results.
It's quite a struggle because you can't let go of the information that, you know, they'll just simply take up and finish the exercise. You have to stay away from letting them know what they have to do. But at the same time, you have to give them enough for them to work with. And sometimes between that process, they just get it without you having said a word. Sometimes I'm just standing there and I'm just pointing at one thing. And before I can even start the statement, it's already taken away. That spark has just exploded. They have figured the entire thing out and then they tell me, please leave, we'll do it. So that's something that really validates what I do.
You have a good mentor to steer you in the right direction. That makes all the difference to the child. So the interest with which I see children going to makerspace clearly tells me that that space is unique to them and they cherish that time that they spend there.
So first, I used to feel very shy working with other people, and also in my class there's this thing about girls and boys. So in makerspace, sir actually changed me by actually making us work with different people, which actually has helped me because now I know how to handle so many different people with different personalities in life. Like if somebody is funky, talk about something really awesome, a film or something. If somebody is studious and does not talk much, fine, let it be, just work together. So yeah, I've learned how to cooperate with different type of people.
girls also enjoy makerspace, and girls also like thinking and crafting and building. You don't get to choose your partners, you just work with whoever, and you don't get to complain. So I think that we break the stereotypes.
I learned that being a perfectionist isn't all that bad, because you need to be perfect at certain things to get it done. Like this one, I thought I could make as many of these gears as I want. So I started off with making a big 4 gear wheel. Big 4 gear wheel. I had to start all over again, cutting it through the middle, because it turns out only if you cut 8, it actually works.
They showed up on the projector there how Spanbeast looks like. Oh my god, how will I be able to do it? But they've already started and I think I'm able to do it. So that's how it's become fun for me now. And at first, I didn't think how fun it would be, but I knew it was going to be fun. And at the end of the year, I'm realizing makerspace is so fun.
I think over the past 2 years, I've been able to build this relation with them that you actually can do anything you like, anytime in the makerspace, so as long as you don't hurt yourself. And I mean both physically and mentally. What I mean by don't hurt yourself mentally is that you don't let yourself down. Don't set yourself up for failure saying that I'm going to achieve everything in the world without having taken that first step. And so through that relationship, I know I can confidently say most of my students are actually their true selves when they come here.
I love that the answers to solving problems, they don't come directly. You have to dig deep and think. That's what I like.
All that I would say is we build things that you wouldn't imagine.
The whole school should have the makerspace program, because at a young age, where at 8th grade, 7th grade, we look into makerspace as more of a challenging task to accomplish, that kind of way. But when I finished makerspace, I realized that it's a lot more than learning what to do and thinking out of the box. It's more of looking more into yourself in situations where you can look at stuff in every angle that you can, and it's going to really help us in the future.
I want Inventure to be known as an incubator of these kind of minds.
Inventure continues to expand its horizons, and in the approaching academic year, we plan on offering design and technology as a course in grade 11. The Makerspace then becomes a great platform for those students who plan on pursuing design and tech as a career, and at the same time prepares any other student to look at the world around them with a much broader perspective.
Sometimes, we talk about an Inventure chap. Like when you meet somebody, you should be able to tell that this is an Inventure student. And that's what I hope that Makerspace will do also.